because I know he's got a bunch of different things going on. Jake, I don't want to mess up your last name. So I'm bringing on Jake Ellenbogen.
Ellenbogen? That's what I heard.
One or the other.
That's what I heard. I think you got it right.
Yeah, I think I got it right. Where are you from, by the way?
Well, thank you. That's the best intro I've ever gotten before.
Aww. No,
I've been on a lot of shows. That was killer.
I mean, seriously, like, you know that I was a little nervous to do this, and you know that I said, I don't know if I could produce this thing by myself. I don't know how to do graphics. I don't know how to set all this up. You walked me through it, so I really appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too. You came on my shows, so, you know. I mean, hey, that's what friends do, right? But no, I think you're doing a great job. I try to peek in from time to time. Obviously, I'm doing like a million different shows. I got 4 today alone, so... no, I think you're doing a great job, and I see your audience is engaged, and those are the 2 most important things. And, you know, the graphics look great. I mean, people don't realize, like, StreamYard has made it, and it gets better every time. I feel like I log on, they're adding something else. It makes it easy to just do a show. Like, I wish this was a thing back in, like, when I first started in, like, 2017. It was not, so it had to be a little bit more creative there, but no, I appreciate you having me.
I'm excited because not only did the Rams defense save my fantasy team this week, so shout out to the Rams for not crap in the bed. The West is just very crazy right now because you've got so many injuries right now to the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, Brock Purdy is hurt. You've got receivers hurt, defense players hurt. I mean, everybody's hurt on San Francisco. They are falling apart. And I actually really liked San Francisco this year solely because of their easy schedule. And if everyone stayed healthy, then they should have been a great team. But you've got the 49ers 1-0, the Rams 1-0, the Cards 1-0, the Seahawks 0-1, but the Seahawks could have won that game.
Yes.
Opening thoughts just overall on the West after week 1.
Well, if you happen to be a Rams fan, you're feeling good. If you're a Cardinals fan, a win is a win. In the Big Easy, it's not easy. That is a really good defense. I think people look at the quarterback and they're like, really, Spencer Rattler? He could sling it, man. You know, he had a chance to win that game if Juwan Johnson doesn't drop that touchdown. I mean, we're maybe talking something different there. So I don't know if I'm like flying high about that win if I'm a Cardinals fan. I think I'm just kind of like exhaling. Seattle game, I felt like Seattle outplayed them. That's the thing that's kind of frustrating, you know, as a football fan, just in general. I mean, forget about the Rams moniker, but like Seattle has a really good defense, and Brock Purdy was just throwing it up there. Very careless with the football. You know, I see people kind of passing around how great his EPA was, but EPA doesn't take into context those plays, right? So when he throws it up there to his 3rd string tight end, and it's going right into, you know, Reek Woolen's hands, if he turns around and actually makes a proper play on the football and the game is over at that point, you know, it's not really taking that into account. It's just taking on the end result. So, yeah, I did not like what I saw from Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey looks, dare I say, washed. And their left tackle in Trent Williams looks like he's really taken a step back. He allowed over 6 pressures in that game, the most of his 49er career. So, yeah, it wasn't great for the Niners. They win the game, and yes, they took their 3rd-round kicker off the roster. It's about time they finally did that. But I wasn't overly impressed with them. I was impressed with one player, Upton Stout, the rookie. He did a great job covering Cooper Kupp in this one.
Speaking of Cooper Kupp, his former team, the team that you do a lot of work with, and about the Rams. Now, the Rams went from 2.5 to 3-point favorites facing the Houston Texans. They end up winning 14-9. And honestly, if you're a Rams fan, you're feeling good solely because the defense looks good against a relatively good Houston team. I mean, they have Nick Chubb, who we'll see, but they still have some receivers. But overall, the fact that Matt Stafford didn't play in the preseason and was dealing with all those injuries to squeak out a win, at least must feel like a win.
You know, that is a really interesting thing. So this game could have been like 24-9. And I understand, you know, obviously penalties happen. There was a 74-yard return by Jordan Whittington that would have set them up in the red zone. There was another huge explosive by Jordan Whittington. Both of those were called back that would have set them up in the red zone. The big one was the bang, bang play. Colby Parkinson fumbles when they're in the red zone there, and that's what gave the Texans a shot at the end. That was a huge fumble. So there were multiple opportunities for the Rams. It felt like they were comfortably winning, and then all of a sudden, the Texans have a shot. But you said it best. I mean, the defense looked outstanding. I had been hearing about this Nate Landman guy all offseason. I kept talking about him, and I was like, look, people I'm talking to are saying this guy he's going to be legit. Like, he's going to be a captain for this team. And they're very high on this guy because, he's had 6 forced fumbles the last 2 years with the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons moved on from him. The Rams signed him in the veteran minimum and said, come earn your role. And that's just how the Rams do it. And so he comes in, UDFA, nothing to his name, and he earns a role. And had another forced fumble if you missed that one. But no, the defense looks great. Akello Witherspoon and Emmanuel Forbes did a nice job in the secondary with Kobe Durant coming down with one of the craziest interceptions I've seen. The defensive front is great. The offensive line, of course, for the Texans is not great. So let's be fair there. But no, I thought that they looked really good. And then on the offensive side, I think D'Amico Ryans has one of the better defenses in all of football. So when I look at the Texans defense, I was like, the fact that they were able to move the ball the way they were, I'm okay with 14 points. I really am. This is just one of those games that you just get out with the win and you feel good about. And in the past, I feel like McVay's lost this type of game. So good step in the right direction for sure.
How concerned going forward are you about the health for Matt Stafford?
I'm actually not. It's funny. I've talked to some people who are close with Stafford. And there's been some laughing going on about kind of the way the media has portrayed Matthew Stafford.
Well, he's old.
Yeah, well, no, I get that. But it is funny because it's the whole, his back. And it really, I don't think the Rams had planned to let him practice most of, training camp, regardless if the back flared up. But he's been playing through crazy injury after injury, punctured lungs, separated shoulders. He was 65% healthy, according to, I want to say Diana Rossini, in the Super Bowl that he won with the no-look pass and everything. He's just built different. He's one of the toughest guys I've ever seen play any sport, and that includes hockey. And he just goes out there and he's just going to play. And he really is never trying to miss time. He was actually advocating to be on that practice field. So I'm not worried about Stafford. He was pressured over 40% of the time on Sunday, but he does such a nice job of orchestrating the pocket. And he's not like fast. I mean, he's not what we saw last night with Caleb Williams, where he can just kind of move all over the place. But he moves enough. Subtle movements allow him to escape pressure. So I'm not worried about Stafford in the slightest. There are 2 guards that are potentially not playing this week. I'm a little worried about who they're going up against because I think the Titans, they looked really good against the Broncos, forcing 4 turnovers, and Jeffrey Simmons had 7 pressures. But aside from that, Stafford himself, I'm not worried about at all.
They're laying 5.5 on the road at Tennessee. I know the Rams, again, great defense, getting a rookie quarterback in his second career start. 5.5, then, if you're missing 2 guards potentially, seems like a lot on the road.
I would agree. I think they're getting 5.5 because of McVay. He does a nice job getting prepared on the road, getting prepared on the East Coast, has some crazy record, pretty much only loses to the Eagles, right? And the Ravens, your Ravens. So those are the only teams he pretty much loses to. Everybody else on the East Coast. Yeah. So I feel like the Titans have a really good defense. Denard Wilson, who was actually with the Rams with Jeff Fisher, that coaching staff. Sean McVay didn't bring him back, so I don't know if there's bad blood there. But he moved on to the Jets and then eventually went with Mike McDonald with the Ravens. And now he's the defensive coordinator for the Titans. He's done a stellar job. This is year 2 for him. And the Titans were one of my sleeper teams last year. They just didn't have a quarterback. And now they do. And I don't know what we're going to get from Cam Ward. And I also think that plays into it as well. The rookie seeing this defense. I'll tell you right now, Cam Ward having to go against a Broncos defense and a Rams defense to start his career. I mean, iron sharpens iron. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. He's probably going to be better because of it, but not easy. So I think the 5.5 comes from Sean McVay's success on the road. and getting guys prepared. Obviously, Matthew Stafford and the way he played last week, PFF rated him the number one quarterback of the week. And I think the rookie aspect of Cam Ward.
Especially Cam Ward having to play on the road in altitude at Denver for his first career start.
Insane.
Also insane to do. Now he's supposed to go and play at home against now the Rams, one of the tougher defenses, especially the front seven. I see the Rams are still favored, or excuse me, second shortest odds to win the division right now, 20 cents behind the Niners. So not much. How surprised with all the 49ers injuries are you that the Rams aren't favored yet?
I mean, it's a little silly, but I understand the rationale behind it. People are basically banking on the 49ers. You know, I don't know if you've heard it, but their schedule apparently is a laughingstock. Now, I don't put too much stock into that, no pun intended, because when you look at, you know, the way the NFL season goes, I mean, things change on a dime. You don't know who's going to be good. And that's just the reality of it. So I get that angle. If you think the 49ers have a crazy easy schedule and they can just kind of sleepwalk to 12 wins, so be it. But you also have to think the Rams aren't going to win 12 games. I happen to think they win 13 this year. I think the thing about the Rams is they learn from their mistakes. And what we were talking about the Rams last year is that they got off to a rough start. If they win this game against the Titans, they're 2-0. They're already ahead of where they were last year. And the thing about Sean McVay is that he has these guys playing the hottest football among the league, you know, at the end of every season, it seems like. You saw it last year. They had to win a ton of games to get into the playoffs. And then you saw it the year prior, you know, winning 7 of the last 8, that one loss going up against the Ravens in that overtime punt return. But that's what you get with the Rams. That's what you get with Sean McVay's preparation. And I think the big thing last year was you had a rookie defensive coordinator in Chris Shula. He's learned a lot. And now he's able to add some wrinkles to the defense, and he's comfortable calling his own defense. And you're seeing it. So, you know, I understand the angle, easier schedule for the Niners, but believe it or not, I have Seattle in second place in this division, the Niners in third, and the Cardinals in fourth.
Everything always rides on the health of Matthew Stafford, but now it's also riding on the health of the San Francisco 49ers and that entire team. So it's hard for me to put money in any of those situations. What is the vibe around the Rams? Like right now for Ravens fans, right? Ravens are Super Bowl or bust. If they don't win a Super Bowl, it feels like it's never going to happen. What is the vibe around the Rams?
Great question. The vibe around the Rams is very simple. Very similar to the Ravens. They're in it to win the Super Bowl. They know they have a lot of young talent. Unfortunately, the NFL...
Very young defense.
Yes, very young. But unfortunately, the NFL kind of penalizes you when you draft well. You can't keep everybody. Because even if you do have an owner that is willing to pay more than, say, I don't know, a Hal Steinbrenner, because that is, of course... Yeah, I figured. That is, of course, Stan Kroenke.
They're like not even caring about the NFL. They're blowing up about the Yankees. But continue.
That's the thing with Stan Kroenke. You know, the Rams aren't afraid to spend the money. They're not afraid to go out and get the player. They play within the confines of course, the salary cap. And they messed around with it to win the Super Bowl. And then there were some, you know, repercussions. And you have a season where everybody gets hurt in 2022. And now you have to make the tough decision to move on from Jalen Ramsey, move on from Bobby Wagner, move on from Leonard Floyd. So that's really the thing there, is that they're not afraid. You know, they would go out and they would spend money. But when you have this young defense, all of these guys, not all of them, but a lot of them need to be paid. And some of them are going to need to be paid at the same time as others. So right now, even though they're young and they're one of the youngest teams, there's still a win now mentality here. And there's a lot of, and obviously there are new players, and that's true, but there's a lot of holdovers from last year. And it's almost the exact same defense as last year, just adding in Nate Landman, who I mentioned, and then Poona Ford. But when you look at this team, there's not a satisfaction of last year. They feel like they should have won against the Eagles. They feel like had they won against the Eagles, they were going to win the Super Bowl. And I feel like a lot of people had kind of realized that, where, man, that Rams-Eagles game might have been a divisional round game, but that was really the Super Bowl there. Whoever won that was going to beat the Chiefs, was going to beat the Commanders. They were the two hottest teams. So because of that, there was a lot of emphasis on, okay, Saquon Barkley beat us. Let's go out and fix the run game. And they did a nice job going out and getting Landman and, of course, Ford to stop the run. So really, the way you look at the Rams right now is they are trying to win one more, at least one more with Matthew Stafford. I think he's got 2 more years left. That's what I think. So, of course, they'd love to win 2 more.
Between Stafford and Goff, like who is going to win the first Super Bowl between the two? And that's, I guess, when we could say who actually wins that trade.
Well, that was the thing. So the first year of Matthew Stafford, they do win the Super Bowl, and that was the biggest thing, I think. Right? Is that trade?
I feel like it's hard because the Rams were way more set up to win at that point. Like,
that's true.
Stafford walked into a cakewalk in that first year. Feel like Goff had a really tough, like that secondary in Detroit was terrible. They were revamping. They finally now have this offensive identity in Detroit, whereas the Rams, like Matthew Stafford came in and it was like, all right, yeah, I've got experience. I'm better than Jared Goff. Like it just was kind of, but Goff, like in the same sense, Stafford, as much as he won the Super Bowl, but then it's kind of just been like this. Goff's just been like this, just no ring.
Yeah. I mean, did you see the stat? Jared Goff hasn't won without Ben Johnson or Sean McVay. He hasn't won a game without them calling plays. He's 0-19-1.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's bad. So
yeah, great.
I don't know. I never, I appreciate Goff.
Shawn Michael thinks the Lions won the trade.
Well, I understand.
Where's your ring?
I understand from that perspective. You got a lot of great players, but watching Matthew Stafford every Sunday. I mean, he's the best quarterback the Rams have had since Kurt Warner. There's no doubt about it. Honestly, in some capacity, I think I would take him over Warner. Right? He's the. You know what I say, and this is probably kind of lame, but I actually just wish they got Stafford earlier. That's what I wish. I wish they got Stafford earlier. Well, no, because I mean, I had a tweet out there in 2015. I wanted to just go after Matthew Stafford. I didn't want to draft anybody. I knew they weren't going to take the guy I wanted, so I just wanted him to trade for Stafford. Yeah, I wish they got him earlier because I feel like, unfortunately, he probably could have played it until he was 40, 41, like Aaron Rodgers, if he got out of that Detroit situation earlier. That's just the reality of it.
The chat is killing Shawn Michael right now. Right now, we got the Lions on FanDuel 18-1, Rams 19-1, right behind them. Those two neck and neck for winning the Super Bowl.